Hello and good morning guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm doing a guest build in the Skyline 6 collaboration series, which is a collaboration between many different creators. It's similar to the 5 builders 1 city, but it's 6 main builders and then guest builders such as myself. So yeah, this is the map we're working on. There's many different builds by many creators here. I think the map is called Vertrale Mountains or something along those lines. It's in the name of the theme anyway. I think it's a beautiful map. I love this map, and I'm loving the sort of variation we're getting into this map already. Like, I think one of my favorite areas so far, like, is this area here. Like, this is something I wish I would have done into more of my own maps. Like, there's an elevated sort of relatively flat area where you can build on, overlooking the lower areas. It's very cool. So there's plenty of cool builds here by all these different creators. Loving this walled old town city kind of thing, integrated with a market thing. That's cool. I guess I'll go on a small showcase of the build so far, in no particular order, like just panning over stuff, and also talking about areas I've been thinking about building, because I haven't really decided until very recently exactly what and where I'm going to build or try to build. But this was one area I was considering, like doing some kind of Norwegian coastal build here. But then I remembered I kind of I've done like 2 sort of Norwegian inspired builds in CS2 already, so I want to try something different today. Oh, this classic old school bridge. I remember using this bridge all the time back in the day. Such a cool asset. Probably inspired me into making monorail cable stayed bridges, to be honest. Wait, something weird here. Did I mess something up? I think the scales of some of the cubes have been changed, but this is classic Shukaboa build. Very cool. Oh, the shadows are weird, but the lighting is going to fall very sharply if you're not using what's it called, the mod softer shadows, which I just started to use myself. It's Acropoli. This is my kind of build. I love this, but I could never do this though. It's something I could do. I think here we got some Roman inspiration. It's pretty cool. I think that's the financial districts buildings. They kind of work weirdly good for Roman architecture, I guess. Which is pretty neat. I love this festival area as well. Beautiful park. But let's move on to, I guess, the area where I've been eyeing up for my build, I guess. It's going to be in this area here, I believe. And what I'm going to try to build in between here, this nice shtetl village, Shukaboa built, and this castle resort town kind of thing that Raid Kitty built. I love this road, by the way, and this bridge. That's so cool. That's neat. I like that. I'm going to try to build a I don't know how to describe it, like maybe like a Soviet industrial town almost. Like, this is going to be a mining town, partially abandoned, maybe even more than partially abandoned. Maybe it's going to be essentially abandoned, like overgrown and like very like seen better days. And I'm going to limit myself to using the vanilla assets for it, so it's going to be a bit tricky. I really don't know how it's going to turn out, but we'll make our best attempt. So the plan is to first go in and do a bunch of roads in this area. I think I might connect up this way, like with one road, and there's going to be a large sort of pit mine in like digging into this mountain here. Might fill it with water, even like make it flooded in a way, if that makes sense. If it works out, I'd have to fill the water and drain it because I don't have any water source mods on this save, so I can't use extra landscaping tools. But we'll see if we can get that to work. Might use the pump truck trick to like, we'll see. And a small town down here, overgrown, abandoned, all the tropes. Going to take some inspiration from some real life towns that I've been looking at in Siberia, not Siberia, in the Ural Mountains between Siberia and European part of Russia today. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. This is a completely new style of build for me. I've never tried anything like this before, so it might just completely become really bad. It might actually, like at this point in time, I totally expect it to become really bad. Like the limited tests I've done so far are, I can't do this. So, I mean, I'm gonna fingers crossed, it's gonna turn out good, and I guess we'll see eventually. But probably not. I'll see you on the other side.
Hello, I'm back like a day or so. I think it's like 2 days later. I'm sorry for the audio in the sort of introduction part. I kind of messed up with my microphone. I put my microphone facing towards my keyboard for some reason. I have no idea why. It felt like it would work, but it didn't. So I think this is slightly better. I always struggle with like having good audio. That's my biggest issue, I think. But with these things. But anyway. Hello, I'm back. It's been a while again. It's been like almost the entire summer. It's not really the way I planned it or envisioned it, but unfortunately, it kind of just happened that way. Yeah, like some stuff happened this summer. I don't want to go into it too much, but like it basically forced me to do some other things, and it kind of killed my motivation for doing videos a bit. It kind of sucks because I had lots of plans and really a lot of motivation going into the summer doing this, like continuing Mio, even doing CS2 stuff, but yeah, it's just going to have to go on a bit of a slower timeline for a bit. Like, who knows? I'm still hoping to pick stuff up eventually, like come autumn, when school starts again. That usually gives me like, even though it takes time, it gives me extra motivation to do this. Motivation? Inspiration and motivation, like a mix of both, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, today we are building I almost said 5 Builder 1 City in Skyline 6, a collaboration project. So if you don't know of this or haven't heard of this before, it's a collaboration project. There's a crew of 6 builders: Flybox, Cities by Steven, Raid Kitty, Joy Builds Cities, Shukaboa, and Fanda. And I am guest building with a crew of other guest builders: Brad Plays Cities, Pilot Builds Cities, Few Candy, Brian Pickle, Chelov, Sardus, Conflict Nerd, and Dirty H. Okay, I'll make sure like all the links are in the description, so if you want to check out the other builds, and also the series playlist, so you can watch like all the parts of this region taking shape. About the build, or like the theme of my build, the overarching theme of the project is European adventure, it's like vaguely European, like, and also mountains and such, and something just that fits in this map. So, and like plenty of other builds have been like Greek inspired, French inspired, like Italian inspired, and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something that technically is like on the fringe of being Europe. Like it's maybe not even Europe, but it's still very European, even though it's like geographically maybe on the fringe, which is like a Russian mining town in the Ural Mountains, like way far out, on the geographical border of Europe, I guess. The reason why is I've never really tried making anything like this myself. I really wanted to, try. I'm taking inspiration from a few different places, but the real life place I'm taking the most inspiration from is called Karabash. There's probably like, it's a very tiny mining town. It's in Chelyabinsk. I think Chelyabinsk is an oblast or something like that. Yeah, I'm not going into even to try to make my Russian sound good or something. I don't know Russian. I have no idea. I just say the translated names, I guess. But anyway, this town has a sort of I don't know, planned city center with like a relatively nice looking park and like some mid-rises and lots of like smaller, like more organic development around it, and also like a massive mine, but it's basically surrounded by mines and or some kind of industry anyway. It might be something other than mine. It might be quarries. I'm not the best at actually spotting that, so, but it's some kind of extractive mineral resource kind of a thing. So you dig in the ground and you see what you find. Yeah, so the name for the city is going to be, oh my goodness. I got some help with my friend Hitsu, who's Russian, for this. And it's Shatyovsk. It's supposed to be miner town. And the name of the mine itself that we're also going to get is going to be, it's going to be related to that. The English translation will be miner town mine, because I can't be bothered. So, but they don't hold me to these names. Like, they probably don't make any sense, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's fun anyway. Okay. Yeah, so you can see I've been building out a road layout here. Like, basically the paved road is where, yeah, these, I guess we can call them commie blocks. I think it's a dumb word. I don't particularly like the word. I think based on the size and the era I'm thinking of, these would be Khrushchevkas. Like, basically built in the era when Nikola Khrushchev was the leader in the Soviet Union. It's just like multi-family houses. It's just like we have the same kind of thing here in Sweden. Like, we have the same kind of thing all over the world. So it's like it's not just something inherent to communism, which is dumb, I think. So, but anyway, like, I'm building these in a way so that they're facing the outer roads, but we're going to create like an inner park, basically an inner parkland. So there's like a very mode separated city development, I guess. Like, you have like the cars and the parking lots on the outside, and you have all the pedestrian paths and all the parks and all the greenery on the inside. I think it's a pretty cool way to build cities. Like, I don't think it's necessarily the best. It definitely is. It's an aged way. It's aged, maybe not the best. We used to do this a lot from the 60s here in Sweden as well, and it basically leads to a lot of car dependency. Like, it kind of makes the situation with car dependency worse, if you will. It's just because it looks based doesn't mean it is actually based. So the way I accomplished it is I just took this one of my favorite vanilla assets and just copied it and placed 3 of them or 2 of them next to each other, and then just placed longer rows of these houses all over. And it's the only building we're using, really. And now I'm going in and like adding some services and a sauna, I think I'm adding, but like a high school at the high school building is pretty good. I think it fits the theme very well as well. So I wanted that to be like front and center on the sort of main square. I'm going to eventually put down some parks here. That's going to remind you a little bit of a certain Ukrainian nuclear city town. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. Definitely gonna place a lot of playgrounds and stuff like that in the inside of the development. So like, at this point I realized there's a slight similarities to a place where I live to this also, because we have these like parking lots / park areas, and like, yeah, it's kind of similar actually now that I think about it. It's very similar to the place where I live, so there you go. It's not just commie blocks. I mean, depending on how you see it. It's a very common trend at some point in time, I'd imagine. Even if the inside here is parkland, I don't want to actually make it a park. So I'm using, whenever I place a park, I make sure that it has road access. Because I feel like it would be a bit overkill to just make it an actual park with a park entrance and such. Yeah, so at some point I also found that I can get this very large this lake park inside here, so I had to just widen the whole build just a tiny little bit to fit it in, but it turned out really good though. It's like the centerpiece of the park, and like all the paths will eventually connect to it. So yeah, this style of build was really fun actually, and it didn't take me that long. I think I had like a total of 3 or so hours, including all the mine stuff and everything that you will see in the later parts of this video. So it's basically, I think it's a pretty fun build, and I can recommend trying it yourselves if you want to. Now starts the massive parking lot spree, I guess. Trying to figure out how to get the most parking in here, because we definitely do need a lot of parking lots. Something I saw in the real life inspiration place locations as well. And we'll get to that also, but there's this weird sort of, I don't know what to call it, garage culture or whatever. Like, these places often have like huge, large sort of areas of just garages. It would look like a sort of informal self-storage lot or something, but I don't know what they are for. I don't really know anybody knowing what they are for. They're just there. So we'll have a go at doing that as well. And we also want to try to do like allotment gardens, because when you live in an apartment like this, you can't really grow as much as you would maybe want to. Like you wouldn't be able to cultivate like vegetables and stuff like that. So a lot of these places would have like some kind of allotment garden you would go to relatively near. And I mean, I don't know what the Russians do with it. Like this is what the Swedish way of dealing with it. It's once again like pretty similar to to that. But I also do build like a few lower density residential neighborhoods. So sort of to get the idea of them being the older neighborhoods that were there before the 60s and before this mining town got built up all in one go. And there you go. Here's the Ferris wheel, the famous Ferris wheel from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, I should say. Yes, it's like a nod. It's like a tiny nod to Pripyat, Ukraine. The town that got abandoned when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant had a bit of an accident. And there's like this, like it's out of place because it's you don't usually see like Ferris wheels just in a park. Like I wouldn't expect to go to the park and just go to the Ferris wheel, but like I don't know, these Soviet industry. Very specific, like a city that's built around a very, very specific industry, and just that alone, they were just built different. They were cooking, and I'm not gonna question their choices with these things. So here I'm starting doing the lower density residential areas. I'm basically picking out a few buildings that I think could fit. Mostly electing to do pretty low buildings, like 1 story or 2 at most. And I'm doing a mix of a University City DLC by King Leno and European Suburbia by Avanya. I don't want them to look too fancy. I want them to look not necessarily run down, but like I just want to make sure there's no pools or anything like that. No like super fancy trees and stuff like that. Like, or no fancy detailing of a building. I want pretty basic buildings that I can just spam and place together. So I'm just doing a palette of these buildings, and then I realized I'm too lazy to like place every house in the video, so I'm just using Move It to copy and paste like the rows of buildings. It's another way of building. I kind of like it. I don't mind. Like it's a perfectly acceptable way to build a low density residential, or like high density, I guess. But the palette, like placing down like a few the buildings you want to use, I think is a good trick if you're doing similar stuff yourself. And development like this is pretty fast. You can see how fast it grows. I should shout out, if you want to go the extra step, you could create a custom tag for the buildings you want to use in Find It, and then use the randomize tool. I think Infrastructurist did a video on that, how to do that, like basically invented that technique, and it's such a game changer for making suburbs like this. I couldn't be bothered here though. It felt like too much work for something that was supposed to be pretty easy. So I'm also starting to like sprinkle in like a few commercial buildings. There's not going to be a lot of commercial buildings in this entire build. There's like 3 separate locations. There's like a few tiny gas stations and like one or two main shops. And I also wanted to put some industrial workshops here on the end. So I guess that's what's happening. And I also realized, there's some services I'm lacking. I need some water and some garbage collection, I guess. And crematorium, I don't remember if I placed a crematorium, to be honest, but I think I did somewhere. I don't remember where though, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. I think it looks like I placed it next to the fire station, actually. Yeah. And I'm very much like conscious of the extensions of the road, or like extensions of this built up area. Like you have the paved roads, the more heavily planned area, and you have these gravel roads like going out into the outskirts, like the outside. I think that's a neat trick you can use as well, like to sort of to show difference between areas. And here we go. I start messing around with these garages I've been talking about. So I eventually elect to use this, I think it's a farming asset, and just place a bunch of rows together and realize the colors are a little bit weird. I don't really like how they're so colorful. So I decide to go back in and reset so that we get the color variation of only 2 colors. I think I do the light green and the blue. In real life, I don't know what, like they would probably be more like the darker grayish color, like kind of how the workshops, the industrial assets have. But I think something like this looks pretty decent and like rough, like it looks run down enough. And this is not the only area. I'm gonna make another area, basically over here as well by this, which is going to be my attempt at an allotment garden, a very, very quick and dirty allotment garden, I should say. I mean, for me, an allotment garden is basically you have this place where you can. It's basic. It can be a building. It doesn't have to have a building. It could just be a plot of garden where you can grow stuff. But in some cases, there is like a small building that is not suitable for living in, like year round. It wouldn't have like it might have water, and it might have electricity, but it might not like have heating or like insulation and stuff like that. So it's like people who have these allotment gardens with houses, they sometimes spend a lot of the time there during the summer, like, and just enjoy the greenery, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if the culture is the same in Russia, if it's just more of growing, like the focus is heavier on just growing plants and vegetables and food. So, and here I'm also like placing some actual, I guess, farming buildings like at the end of a road, so it looks like these roads have a purpose, they have a destination. It's not very high effort. It's like not my best. It's really not my best work. I could have done this with like sub buildings, I realized from Industries DLC as well, but yeah, I didn't. And here's some more garages. And while I do that, I should also talk about something that I almost forgot to mention when I did it. I did go ahead and place a central heating plant, because that's a huge deal in Russia. I mean, kind of in Sweden as well. We have a lot in common, to be honest. But like a central heating plant that would have been like designed to That's basically its purpose is to heat up this entire area, like, or at least the modern multifamily houses, the modern air quotes. I'm taking a lot of like indirect inspiration from a game called Workers and Resources Soviet Republic for this, by the way, this build. I've never actually played the game myself. I think I have it on Steam, but the sort of ideas behind it, it's a city planning, it's a city building game, right? But it's extremely very, very, very detailed, very, very advanced. Like, you have to, for example, there's not just one power system, there's like multiple voltage power systems, and you have to make like transformers between them, and long before CS2 sort of introduced that. So it's a very, very advanced, and the people who play it like seem to really, really enjoy it a lot. I couldn't get into it because it is kind of hard to get into, but I took like a lot of indirect inspiration because I've been watching people play it and such. So I've been watching Lee Hawkins have been playing it a lot recently. I think Jumble plays it as well, and like a few other people, but it's inspired me a little bit, even though I don't actually know how to play the game myself. So, and here you can see me go in and place those park paths. Yeah, and of course I should finish that thought. I'm such a rambler. It's so dumb. Yes, the heating plant and like creating a heating pipe system is a huge deal in that game. In Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, you need to actually make sure that you have heating in place before the winter, or your people will freeze to death. So that's the way it inspired me, I guess, a little bit. Yeah, so I also realize that I do place a lot of basketball courts everywhere. I don't know, I have a stereotype that basketball is kind of popular in the old Soviet states. I was kind of wrong. I got this critic from my friend Hitsu again. Like, there should be football facilities and not so much basketball. So I kind of messed up. We can pretend all together that this is in the Lithuanian Socialist Republic. I don't know if basketball was a big thing in Lithuania in the 60s or in the 80s or 70s, but anyway. We just have to pretend. I should have placed a football field though. I should have, that would have made a lot of sense. So you can also see I'm using quite a lot of different paths for this sort of internal park area. I'm doing a mix of the vanilla like just gravel and pavement paths together with the Park Life more fancy meshed paths, and it kind of works. It kind of creates a good variation, I think. And here I'm trying to like do the most basic detailing of these allotment gardens to make them look like they are a hotspot of growing activity, just by placing just random bushes sort of in lines that could match some kind of property line. But it's very lazy. Like, I should have done like maybe fences, some chain link fences or whatever. Like, I could have done so much more with that, but I wanted to do it like very basic and simple. So basic and simple it is. I was also told, like, when showing this to it, that it is a bit too fancy. I don't know how I would do it less fancy, like maybe like with decals and like making stuff dirty, but I'm not a huge fan of like using decals like that. I'm not a huge fan of just like going in and doing that kind of detail everywhere. It easily becomes just like too much, I think, and it's not super fun, I think. So I prefer to do it like with in other ways if I can. And also, I'm not the greatest sort of rundown, grimy kind of builder. I can't really do that. There's a few other people who do that much better, and I've never really been that interested in it. Like in most of my cities I build are like, they always like have this sort of optimistic, like utopian. They're always like just slightly too good to focus on the dirty rundown parts. So it's just like I don't know if that says something about me or says something about the people who want to build rundown, dilapidated stuff. But I think it's just a variation. Like, it's super cool to see that style of build as well. But it's never been really something that I'm super interested in. Here I'm trying to like just create some sort of surrounding forest to frame the build, but I'm not entirely sure if I managed or not. I don't want to overdo it with the forest, like just placing too much everywhere, so it kind of sticks out too much in the general map, and because I've noticed that the rest of the map is kind of like sparsely forested. It might be performance reasons. I don't want to accidentally just ruin everything for everybody else by by placing too many trees everywhere. But I try to do something that's like in between, like a suitable amount that fits for my build, but it doesn't really ruin or affect the others too much. And here I'm back doing some TMP stuff in the roundabout. There's no IMT in this save game, so I'm just relying on TMP, I guess. I mean, it's good. That means we don't have to worry about that. I do use node controller though to smooth out the nodes connecting into the roundabout a little bit. In retrospect, I realized this roundabout, I missed. I should have placed some kind of art in there. I should have placed some kind of monument, a statue. I forgot a lot of these things. Like, I even made a flag pack with all the creators' flags for this series, and I forgot to use my own flags. I feel like such an idiot for that. I should have used the flags in the roundabout. That would have been great, wouldn't it? I don't know. Maybe I can ask some of the creators coming after me to please add a flag or a few flags or something. But it's fine. It's fine. You can't always get everything right. Here I'm doing a small pedestrian underpass because I realized there's no actual connection here, and I realized the bridges are, or the tunnel entrances are so big, so I decided to like do it the road is a bridge segment instead. You can make it slightly smoother that way, but you kind of have to hide the weird clipping with a key. So I didn't really talk about it, but in the beginning of this, I did do some custom bridge stuff, like my specialty. But I want to like make sure so you didn't really miss a lot. I only used the truss bridge from Armesto's Bridges and Piers CCP and widened it basically. That's basically all I did. So I widened it so that it better fits with the national roads, the larger roads. So it feels like it's more in harmony with that, I guess. But it's not really I didn't do anything crazy that's sort of special. But I did use node control to widen it slightly. So yeah. I'm starting to really like how this is looking, by the way. This is turning out really nice. I also realize that, I mean, should I say, like, most of this, like, pretty much everything here is vanilla with content creator packs. A remarkable amount of it is vanilla full stop, but I did forget, there's a bunch of custom trees in the collection, and I did accidentally use, like, there's one small like flower bush that I did use without really. I was planning to make like only vanilla assets, stuff like that, but I didn't use like this flower bush that's not vanilla a bunch in the allotment gardens and such. But it's another like tiny thing that I'm not really too concerned about. Yeah. Oh, and I set up a small bus line that goes to the train station in Shukaboa Stettel, I believe. So it's like just a shuttle bus. It goes back and forth. So that means there is a acceptable connection to the rest of the city via bus and then train. It's not. I don't know. Maybe there should be more buses. I was considering it, but I think like one bus line was enough. It creates like this sort of extra variety of like activity in the city center as well, or like in the town center. Like there's buses coming and going. So. And it makes a lot of sense. It's the nearest train station as well, so. And here you can see the start of the actual mine. The mine is starting. So I'm digging out this large hole in the ground. And I'm creating a bunch of roads that just sort of go around it. But so swivel their way down is the main idea anyway.
building mines like this is another really fun build that you should try if you want to. Like, I really recommend it, and they usually turn out pretty good. Like for the visuals of a larger area, you can zoom out and they're visible from everywhere, and it looks cool. They're usually not as easy to get to look realistic and good from close up though. That's much trickier. But like from a zoomed out view, these mines are like very easy to make and they have a very like huge impact on the overall like satellite top down view of your city. So I can recommend trying this actually. And yeah, while I'm doing that, I might as well like start talking about like I'm actually in a few weeks I am going to Finland. Like you guys probably have heard of it from other creators, but there is a huge creator sort of meetup kind of thing in Finland, and I'm invited and I'm going. I'm considering like maybe I should like sort of create a I don't know, like stuff to talk about, like a list of maybe, because I suspect it's going to be about like City Skylines 2, and we're going to discuss like how can make better game, and I'm wondering if I should maybe make a more sort of organized, proper list of my biggest complaints with it, and like stuff I want to, that I think are good improvements. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you want me to bring up, I guess, and I'll see what I can do about it, if it aligns with my own lists, that is. But yeah, I should say I'm placing these ore assets down, even though there's no ore in the ground. So the mine is not going to be functional; it's going to be mainly aesthetic. And I'm also trying something here. This is going to be like the rest of the video might just be me trying this. I'm trying to fill up a part of the mine so that it looks like it's sort of abandoned, and it's not really going to work out, because it basically creates this large. It creates so many waves. It looks like there's a storm constantly going on. So even if I have a water outlet spawning water and a water pump pumping it up, it's going to create huge like streams of water that just doesn't fit. It would be a very flat and still surface of water if this was real. But yeah, actually, Shukaboa has a really cool trick for that from his vanilla series. And it's using pump trucks. So you have a road that goes down and have a pump truck. But I don't know why I didn't try it, but I should have just tried it. That would have made perfect sense. I guess you can't. Hindsight is 2020 again. But yeah. So that's how I would have done it here. I thought I could do it with pump trucks, but I failed. Here I'm doing a fun thing that's inspired by a mining town in the north of Sweden. That kind of is one of my first ideas for this build. It's basically a town that had to be moved because the mine was expanding, or like its operations into like it basically undermined the town. The mine undermined the town. So I used that disaster thing to collapse some of those buildings so that it looks like it's an abandoned, collapsed town, basically. Which is actually a nod to Raid Kitty, because I think she did that in a episode of a previous series of Skyline 6. Like to create a like basically ruined town. So shout out to Raid Kitty for that as well. So I thought it was very fitting to use that technique in this build. Especially considering this build is situated between Raid Kitty's and Shukaboa's builds. So it feels like a nice nod to these creators that you should definitely go check out. They will be in the links along with all the others in the description. Yeah, I did do one good thing with this pump situation. I managed to like get it inside of a old industrial evolution asset, so it looks like a more classic old school pump house, I guess, which makes it look a little bit better. But I was desperately trying to hide these pumps and make the pumping basically the water would fill up to a certain level and then it would overflow into a smaller lake and then it would pump up, and it was just a mess because the water pump has a huge area of effect. It pumps water from very far away. It pumps water from maybe like 50 or so meters where the actual building is, so it didn't really work as well as I wanted it to. I should have used the pump truck approach, like just having a ramp going down into water and a pump truck service set up somewhere in the city so that it can fix the flooding that way. But yeah, I end up actually just filling this area in with more mines. It turned out to be the easier solution. Yeah. Speaking of City Skylines 2, by the way, I've been playing around a little bit with... I've been going back to it a little bit and playing around with my first sort of attempt at making a map. And I've been streaming like a few times on Twitch making it, and I think I might continue doing that. So if this is something you're interested in, you might want to look into the Twitch streams for that. I think there's a link in the description as well for that. I mean, there's going to be a link in the description for everything, but I'm sure you can find it anyway. That's if you're into City Skylines 2 and like the idea of me making maps there, but it's kind of painful, to be honest. I prefer making maps in City Skylines 1. It's more fun. It's less of a hassle. But at some point I realized, like, I just have to do something. Like, I just have to make a map. It's like I feel like I just have to do it. And I think I have a good starting. Yeah, I have a vision. Like, I have some inspiration for it now. So, and usually when that happens, I'm pretty confident it could turn out pretty good. I'm not that far along yet. I'm mainly at the like infrastructure part of it, but I'm like, it's turning out pretty good. And the infrastructure part is of course maybe the most fun and also most frustrating part of of CS2. So we'll yeah, go check out the Twitch stream if and see if I'm live or something. I don't know. I have this plan that after I record this today, I am going to go on and actually Twitch stream City Skylines 2, but we'll see if that happens. You are going to be watching this after that stream would have happened anyway, so it's not really that's if there are future streams after the stream I'm planning today. We'll see. So for the last piece, like, basically everything is already built, but I do have to think about, this is where I decide that, you know what, this water in the mine situation, it's not worth it. So I eventually go back and basically dry it out, which is unfortunate because, like, the idea of having like a mine that's flooded or like filled with water is the best way to sell the idea that it's a disused and abandoned mine. Having it be all drained means it's kind of like, it kind of feels like it has to be in operation. This is like, I'm taking some small, like, low-key inspiration from a place me and my brother visited on the island of Gotland earlier this spring. We went to like some abandoned limestone quarries, and basically we were swimming in them because they are now lakes. And like, there was something similar to this pump house kind of, there was some kind of similar structure like this, maybe not a pump house, but some kind of factory related, like some kind of mine related building that was on the hillside or like the slope down into the mine. So yeah, I would have wanted to have it filled in to sell the idea that it's abandoned mine, but you know what, it's just gonna have to be an abandoned mine that they're still trying to dig stuff out, but maybe not successfully. Maybe just have very good drainage. Maybe there's just some drainage pipes that leads the water directly through the mine, like into the river or something. I don't know. Maybe they have solutions. Maybe they think we might restart the mine operations at some point, so we need to keep it drained. Maybe that's... I'm thinking too much about this, to be honest, but yeah, that's what's happening. Basically, I'm thinking the name I've been having fun with the idea of like doing a mashup for a name of this episode or whatever, like, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with the thumbnail. I think this is gonna be one of those episodes when I'm gonna spend like way too long time on the thumbnail for shits and giggles, but it's going to be something like Cities and Skylines Chirper Republic. It's like a direct nod or a homage to Workers and Resources, that game, because of how basically it's a Soviet town with a Soviet mine. Yeah, I'm a big nerd, I know. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to judge me silently even. I know it. It's like, it's fine. So the next episode is going of the Skyline 6 series is going to be on Chelov's channel, which is funny because I think Chelov was after me at least in one of the 5 Builder 1 City episodes as well. So, but yeah, if you don't want to miss the sort of next part and the coming parts, you should definitely check out their channel. You should also probably yeah, I think Zardos is after that, so Zardos and Conflict Nerd and Dirty H. Dirty H is going to be really exciting. Like, he's been doing really cool stuff in City Skylines 2 recently, like doing a Brazilian build. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in this map. Extremely talented. This is yeah, it's fun being part of these collaborations. It also is a bit different. It takes a bit more. I think I prefer to be. I've realized by now I prefer to do stuff on my own because less pressure. There's only pressure from myself to achieve stuff. I feel like I'm over analyzing like what will others think about this and stuff, like when you're doing stuff together. But it's always really fun to do stuff because you're actually talking to people and having fun. I really wish the multiplayer mod for City Skylines 1, and for that matter, like I wish there was something like that for CS2 as well, because like a real-time multiplayer game mode is just like, it would be amazing. Like, imagine doing these kind of things together. It would be incredible. I think it would be so fun. But I've already ranted about that in the past, so I'm not gonna try to do it again. Maybe, who knows, somebody will figure out the mod someday, but yeah. And here I finally give up on the idea of a flooded mine, and we fill it in. This has basically been me the last like half an hour or so, just trying to get this to work, and then like, nope, not work, and then like fix it in a few seconds. There you go. And pretty much the build is complete. I'll give you guys a short like live play review because we kind of have some more time to do that, and I think there's going to be a few like simple cinematics as well. But this was a very fun build, like first time I've ever done anything like this. I should also shout out to Meister, I just realized, because he kind of had a build similar to this a long time ago that kind of inspired me to want to try it as well. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's see you in the live play. Hello, so I'm back here in the build, and I figured like in that time lapse I didn't really talk so much about all the builds, so I just like a quick overview of what we built. The first thing I kind of skipped over was the bridge. Basically, this is a bridge from the content creator pack by Armesto, the Bridges and Piers CCP. By default, the bridge is a lot thinner, so I basically widened it using node controller to stretch the nodes so that it better matches the roads approaching it. It's a little bit of a trick you can use if you don't like the vanilla assets as they are. Going into the town here, I kind of regret not placing anything in a roundabout. Like maybe future creators can do something about this. So this is like sort of the center of the whole development. Like here's the high school, here's like the central square, you have like the densest part of it, I guess. most parking lots. This is where the bus line goes. The bus line goes from here to the train station over here. And it's surrounded by like these older like low density residential areas, and eventually like the farm areas, I guess. And on the other side you get we have the sort of high density, I guess the landmark build of this episode, like these commie blocks, air quotes. Really like how this park turned out. I want to build more parks like this, to be honest. I think it's really cool, especially like using different parks and different paths. I mean, so you get the variation in that aspect as well, and like not too many trees, but quite a few trees. I had a plan to maybe make all of this like just more overgrown, but eventually I think it's better like this, so I'm happy with that. Like the allotment garden area over here. Pretty neat stuff. And yeah, these farming sheds that sort of in place of the garages that you find everywhere in Street View. And I don't know what they're for. If anybody knows what these garages are for, please tell me. I would love to know. They look like garages. Maybe they're just storage units, like small workshops or something. Who knows? Some more over here, and the industrial area. Here's the boiler, the water boiler, the sort of the thing that makes this thing survive through winter. So the heating, the central heating system relies on this boiler plant. Here's another small village that was built like as a small commercial center here with a gas station. I like this kind of style builds, like a corner shop / gas station. There's a tiny underpass here. Goes to the rest of the build. And here's the sort of the commercial like the main shop of the build, I guess. Just placed 3 of these commercial assets together. The large parking lot on the back. Here you have some of the parking lots and the covered parking lots from, I think it's Revo's mid-century modern DLC. Here, like the caravans parking, even though there's clearly not enough room. That's funny. Those caravans are so dumb. Yeah. You can clearly see the differentiation, like, of the different modes of traffic. Like, you have outside you have cars and you have parking lots, and inside you have paths and greenery. Possibly, like, if you wanted to, you could, like, even set up a small bus line going all around it. I don't think it's needed, though. I think this is a great sort of location for the sort of transit hub of this build. The paths all sort of converge, or like a lot of paths like just meet up at this point. So we of course have the Ferris wheel, famous from Pripyat. It's in operation. So generally like a lot more fancy, this build, than a lot of the real life examples I'd imagine, but it's fine. Maybe it's like it's closer to the vision of the actual planners than the actual I guess reality. Moving up here is the mine. I did extend this road going out here over the stream and connecting up to the main road over here. I thought that was a very neat shortcut and made sure that it didn't break any of the paths here, so you can still, I mean, you can use the paths with the crosswalk. So this mine here is not really functional. It doesn't have any it's going to complain about resources. There's no resources. If we get some other mods, you could paint in resources here. You could potentially also use mods to create a water source if you wanted to flood this part, but at this point I'm fine with it being like this. It's the old pump station as a reminder of my failures. And put a small ore, I guess, what is it called, like I think it produces metal or something like that, a resource metal from ore. So it will still import materials to this facility here. and this will be operated, but it's the only part of this industrial area that actually is operating. So, but it still like has a tiny function. There's like 36 workers or so. Yeah, industrial area info. You can look at that. Yeah, you see, we're not even importing. It doesn't even show that. Maybe it does some. Yeah, it says a slight output of metals. But basically, it's not from extracting. We're not extracting any raw materials. We're importing it. But that's fine. And up here on the other end of this mine, like there's this, I'd imagine this older town that, or maybe it's a town that developed in conjunction with the mine, but it basically, as the mine grew bigger, like all of this soil became unstable and it was undermined, and a lot of the buildings collapsed. So I really like that hint to history there, which is inspired by a place in Sweden in the north called Malmberget or Gällivare, where you can kind of see these old blocks being completely abandoned and overgrown because the mine had to expand. And you can see the same kind of thing happening in Kiruna, the other big mining town up north. So just a tiny little bit of a hint to those things. And this is my build. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. If you liked this, like and subscribe. If you want to see more of the series, check out the links for the playlist, and remember to check out Chelov's next part in the series as well. I can give a hint. It might be. I think it's in this part here. Okay, that's enough. I will see you guys next time, wherever that is. Hopefully not as long of a wait as this video would have been. But yeah, enjoy the cinematics and goodbye.